Okay, flight model. Now, the flight model of Elite is as per the original 1984 game. Basically, it's your space is not frictionless. You're an aeroplane in space, if you want an aeroplane in space. So if I decide to start thrusting over, flipping my ship over, if I let go of my joystick, I immediately stop. If I thrust, if I thrust, I'll stay at constant thrust, and if I drop my thrust to nothing, magic friction slows me down. So you can climb and dive. They're at the same rate. Your roll is pretty much at the same rate as well. The only thing that they've really nerfed is yaw. You would expect on a spaceship for yaw to be just as fast as pitch and roll, but yaw is really slow. So that's your yaw, right? It's pathetic. They've made that as a gameplay decision to make that space combat more of the more of the aircraft style, climb and roll combat rather than yawing, to bring your target into your crosshairs. I think that's a bad design decision myself, but that's what they've done, so we live with it. In addition to that movement, there is also lateral movement. So you've got lateral thrusters, so I can move directly up. You see that stuff straight past me. I take my finger off it, slow down, up, down, left and right. Pretty sort of boring stuff. And then of course your throttle does forwards and backwards. That's it's pretty boring really when you think about it. There is one other thing, and it's called rotational assist. Generally, you just leave rotational assist on. What it does is it's just like a flight helper for you. If I go and land at that Coriolis station over there, I'll fly into the docking port, and as soon as I'm on the inside of the system, I no longer have to roll my craft to make it keep up, with the roll of the station. I sort of get, I automatically get frame locked to the station, and I start rotating with the station as soon as I get to the inside of the station. It's just to make landing for people a little bit more easy. If you want, you can turn it off. Sometimes I do, merely because I can't be bothered thrusting around to get to my docking port. It's just easier to turn off my rotational assist and let the station bring it to me. Generally, you will never turn it off. The other thing that you may turn on and off, and probably not in terms of normal flight, but it's definitely useful in combat, and that is the flight assist. So what we've got at the moment is the flight assist model is on, and that is on by default. What it means is there's magical space friction working here, right? You do not have inertia as such. If I turn flight assist off, I get...
Flight assist off.
Right, all sorts of things start happening. Because your ship is inherently unstable. So here on the flight assist, the big flight assist off, you're in trouble. The red marker comes on, and Betty starts bitching at you. So flight assist is the frictionless model. To a large degree it is. There's been some gameplay elements have been reduced. So if I start to pitch backwards or pitch up, you can see the combination of my vectors there, and I don't have my hand on the joystick at the moment, and I keep moving until I manually cancel out that movement. And it can be quite tricky, especially when you're in combat and you're moving quite quickly, and you're trying to do many movements at the same time. Now I'm going to try and line up on that station again. And you've got you can do it. You can actually pull off strafing attacks, that way. What you can do is you can just quickly turn on your flight assist.
Flight assist
turn it
on.
Off again if you
Flight assist off.
So I'm going to. I really should turn down my sound. I haven't turned down my sound. But you can do a strafing attack by you would thrust up, turn off your flight assist, you can then turn sideways and then nullify your turn and keep hooking along that way, for a while. Pretty much with the flight assist, I only ever turn it off in combat because I really want to get somebody into my sights, and my relative velocity to them means that I'm not going to be outdone by my craft moving too far away from them that I can't actually turn over to get them. You will find other pilots are doing it to you. Generally, I'll try and fly backwards and shoot at you. That's not a good idea. A lot of people do it. It's really weird. The first thing they do is they effectively throw their ship in reverse and try and fly backwards and shoot at you. They will try and fly backwards, and it's just a bad idea because if you've got momentum over them, you're just going to tear them apart because you can actually get underneath them and get out from under their guns a lot easier than they can get out from under yours because they're already moving backwards. They need to nullify their motion, or they need to flip back over. And anyway, you'll work it out as you start to fly. So the flight model. Generally people just leave
flight
assist
on
because it's just better. Otherwise, you do tend to become that disco ball cobra. You come falling out of the sky and you're tumbling everywhere, and laser lights just flying everywhere, and you can't hit a damn thing. It has its uses, particularly if you're trying to take out larger ships than you and you want to do a strafe attack. Turning flight assist off can be a bit of a help. Or if you just need that little bit more, turning speed to get somebody under your sights, you can just pulse the flight assist off to give you a little bit more, pitch just to get somebody under your sights. Yeah, that's about it really. There was something I was going to talk about, which was power to the engines. When we put power to our engines, you can see that the blue indicator in my throttle area moves up and down, and on the right of my throttle indicator is that orange line. Let me just pitch up in the sun there so you can see it a bit better. So that represents my maximum throttle on the orange line, and the blue line represents the most manoeuvrable zone for my ship. So if I'm in the middle of that blue zone, my ship is moving at, it's got its maximum manoeuvrability for it, for the given speed, the best given speed. It's that sweet point for your ship. If you're going slower, your turning circle is actually greater, because you're turning a lot slower. And if you're going too fast, obviously you've got a much enlarged turning circle. And it's this is nothing new to fighter pilot style stuff. You know that you've got a sweet spot. It's just that on this instance your sweet spot changes depending upon how much power you put into your engines. In terms of the flight assist model and turning that off, it gets very tricky because your turning speed doesn't really depend on your engines as such. What it starts to denote is, because you've got momentum and you need to get from whatever momentum you have to another direction, it represents that delta that you need. And sometimes that delta can be quite large without you realizing it. You end up overshooting your target by a mile, and effectively you're moving in what is almost a straight line, and they're just going to shoot the shit out of you because you're just nice and straight, and you can't maneuver your delta V that you require. You cannot generate it in enough time to get out from underneath their sights. Particularly with anacondas, you need to use strafing attacks on anacondas, and if you don't watch your relative velocities, you will end up in a straight line, and he will turn on you, and he will plough you into the dirt. And that's what the anaconda pilots are just waiting for. They're waiting for you to fuck up your delta V, and as soon as you do, if they're a half decent pilot, they plough you into the ground, and that's your one mistake that you get with them. Otherwise, you out-turn them and you do the best you can to try and avoid their turrets, and you can take them down, and if they're not supported and all that kind of jazz. But this is stuff you can work out. Okay, thanks.